Hello, beloved monsters and aliens out there. Welcome to Beauties and Beasts, a podcast of all things Beauty and the Beast. I'm DF, coming at you live from my brand new laptop. Yay! Okay, where's the applause button? Okay, still taking me a little while to navigate around here. 1 second. Yeah, brand new laptop, yeah. Here we go. Yeah, thank you all for your patience during that unexpected hiatus that I was forced to take, in which I had to replace my laptop and transfer a whole bunch of files and make sure that everything worked. It cost me a lot of money, but thanks to donations from patrons and Redbubble sales, I was able to afford it and update my video editing software while I was at it. If you see my recent animated music videos, I can do a lot more with them now. So, one more cheer for everybody who pledged as a patron or bought something on Redbubble. Thank you very much. Also, let me know if this music is too loud. Okay. Now, on to the topic at hand. I already discussed my favorite DreamWorks movie, Megamind. Alright, I will turn the music probably down. Let's give it to... there. That one better? Okay. Alright, there we go. So, I have already discussed my favorite DreamWorks movie, Megamind. Now for my second favorite DreamWorks movie, Monsters vs. Aliens, which, like Megamind, deserves a sequel. But unlike Megamind, Monsters vs. Aliens doesn't have a major romantic subplot. That's kind of rare for DreamWorks. Well, it almost does, but spoiler alert, this is actually the only DreamWorks film to date to feature a female protagonist who doesn't end up with a guy in the end. Yeah, sorry DreamWorks, Disney's ahead of the game on you on that one. Like, by about 60 years. And it's not a tale of a beauty and a beast. Well, there are actually several beasts, but it's mainly about a beauty who becomes a beast, has a chance to be a beauty again, but then realizes she's better off as a beast. And it didn't take true love's kiss to help her figure it out. Eat your heart out, Fiona. Today's topic is brought to you by patron ft.BellaPinkSavage, who will also be a guest today as part of her patron tier. Okay, I'm going to put you off mute for a second. So Bella, if you could introduce yourself to the audience here.
Alright, no problem. Howdy, hey everybody. I'm ft.BellaPinkSavage. I've been following DF's work for years, and hey, I'm a patron now. Woohoo! Alright, I'm an artist known in the My Little Pony fandom. I also make animatics and animations on my YouTube channel. And if you follow DF's YouTube channel, you would know that I draw lots of thumbnails for her song covers.
Yeah, well, yes, Bella, you have been a big supporter for a very long time, and I thank you for being here today, and I thank you for suggesting this, because I have actually been wanting to do this movie for a while. Okay, and now I'm going to put you on mute while I'm going through the obligatory advertising and plot summary, and then once I go through all that, then we will discuss the movie together. If that's alright with you?
Okay, no problem.
Alright. So, like I said, obligatory advertising. I'd like to thank my $5 plus patrons, Arvin Joshua Rocks 15, Bella Pink Savage, Cosmic Trail, nalaxsimba, Poppy X Branch 2000, and TyrannosaurusVenom. You too can become a patron and fund my technological equipment by just going to patron.podbean.com/beautiesandbeasts. That's patron.podbean.com/beautiesandbeasts. Or buy my merchandise at disneyfanatic23.redbubble.com. Now we have hats available on Redbubble, and remember Halloween is coming up, so get your scary apparel in time. Also, make sure you have masks, especially if you have kids who are back in school. Please, even with vaccines, you can still get the virus. Now we got the Delta variant, all right? And the kids are not vaccinated yet, so they still need to wear their masks, all right, parents? Okay? We got that out of the way? So, Monsters vs. Aliens stars Susan Murphy, your typical small-town girl from Modesto, California, about to get married to the local weatherman, Derek Deedle. And Susan's excited to be honeymooning in Paris and hopes that someday Derek gets a promotion where they can travel around the world. Yeah, sure, he gets a promotion. No offense to stay-at-home wives and moms. My mom got to travel due to my dad's job too. But, this is different. Just before the ceremony, however, Derek reveals that they won't be going to Paris for their honeymoon, but Fresno, which is still in California, by the way, because he's gonna audition to be the news anchor there. And Susan totally misses the red flag. I mean, come on, all he had to do was tell the general manager, yeah, sure, I'll accept this, but can we push the audition like a week once I come back from my honeymoon? That's a legit excuse that I'm sure people will understand. Hello? But Susan's fine with it. Until, bam! Her life is changed forever. Literally, she is hit by a meteorite, filled with a radioactive substance that turns her hair white. Oh, and makes her grow into a 50,000-pound giant. The government captures her and takes her to a secret military base known as Area 50-something. There she meets 4 other monsters, also based off of monster cult films of the 50s and 60s. We have Insectosaurus, a parody of Mothra, is a bug that's even bigger than Susan at about 350 feet. Typical Tokyo kaiju. Then we have the Missing Link, aka Creature from the Black Lagoon, as I had covered in my last Halloween special. Have I mentioned I love old-timey monster movies? Dr. Cockroach PhD, a mad scientist who got a cockroach's head in a failed lab experiment, just like in The Fly. Does that mean there's a cockroach roaming about somewhere with a human head? Screaming, help me, help me! Then there's the Bob, short for benzoid oxazine bicarbonate, an indestructible gelatinous mass with no brain. Yet he's the most popular character in this movie aside from Susan. And if you hadn't already figured it out, Susan is a parody of the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. All these monsters have gone on rampages and have been locked up in this facility for about 50 years because people can't handle the truth about monsters. And now Susan is joining them, despite her having no ill intent, and the government changes her name to Ginormica. You know, without the comedic hijinks, this story is actually pretty sad. Meanwhile, in a galaxy far, far away, an alien named Galaxar has tracked the meteorite containing a rare and powerful substance called plutonium, the same meteorite that hit Susan, and sends a robot probe to retrieve it. The probe is discovered, as they always are in these alien and horror movies, by a teenage couple parking. By the way, I did not fully understand the scene until I was older, and how they turned the trope on its head by having the girl be the horny one and the guy not being ready to go all the way. See, sometimes it's the other way around. Okay, point on you, dreamers. This part is progressive. Stephen Colbert, the President of the United States, attempts to make peaceful contact with the robot, only for the robot to attack. You know, if Stephen Colbert had followed through on his campaign for president in 2020, this movie would have been a lot more hilarious. I still imagine he would have been a better president than the last one we had. Later, in the Situation Room, General Monger from Area 50-something proposes that they send the monsters to fight the alien robot. A monsters versus aliens scenario. Roll credits. Back at the base, Dr. Cockroach tries to get Susan back to her normal size, at her request, so she can get her life back and be with Derek, so they can go to Fresno and someday, hopefully, Paris. Yeah, she's kind of gone through this spiel with everybody else at this point. But Link is all, no monster has ever gotten out of here. Until Monger comes in saying, good news, monsters, you're getting out. If they fight the alien robot, the president has agreed to grant the monsters their freedom. Kind of like a work release program offered to the incarcerated. They battle the robot in San Francisco. Link fails to throw a single punch. Susan discovers how strong she is. Come on, she's huge. Of course she's strong. And all the boys are impressed. and the robot is defeated, mostly thanks to Susan. Oh yeah, and Dr. Cockroach's mad science skills. And an angry Galaxar sets a course for Earth to retrieve the Quantonium himself. In the military plane, Susan gushes about how strong she was, and Dr. Cockroach compliments her heroism, while Link grumbles about how he was unable to do anything. Susan assures him that he'll be back to his old self soon, as will she. Yeah, after taking down an alien robot, she's still determined to become small again and go back to Derek, insisting he won't rest until they find a cure for her. The boys decide they want to meet Derek and come with Susan to her home in Modesto. Susan's parents are thrilled to see her, aw, isn't that sweet, but are put off by her new monster friends. So while Susan goes to get Derek from the news station, the boys party with the Murphys, and Bob meets a beautiful Jello named Diane. Probably the closest thing we've got to a romantic subplot in this movie. Hey, you know, it's not totally, it's not totally implausible, especially when you've learned that lying Jello actually has brainwaves. No, it's a fact. After a few mishaps from the monsters, the humans run for their lives, even though Link had only just been growling blindly because he had chlorine in his eyes, and Dr. Cockroach had caused an explosion all through mixing a drink. At the news station, Susan embraces or crushes Derek, but he isn't as excited to see her as she is to see him. Then Derek goes into this douchey speech on how he has a career and she can't expect him to put it all on hold for something that happened to her that he had nothing to do with. And he can't get married and live in somebody else's shadow, and she's casting a big one. Not cool, dude. Yeah, funny you mentioned that Derek, when she was prepared to put all her hopes and dreams on hold for you, so you can achieve your dreams. And she would have been the one in your shadow if she hadn't gotten hit by that meteorite. She was willing to be there for you at your best, and you're not willing to be there for her at her worst? Damn, this movie is deeper than people give it credit for. Susan meets up with the boys at a highway gas station, and the boys try to pretend like nothing happened when Bob, not reading the room, spills how terrible the party was. And Link says, "Who are we kidding? We can save every city on the planet and they'll still treat us the way they've always treated us. Like monsters." Now there you go. Now that is probably the deepest line in the entire movie. And then they ask about Derek, and Susan goes, "Derek is a selfish jerk." Finally, girl, you deserve some applause. And she realizes all the things she's done without him, like fight an alien robot. Yeah, that was pretty amazing. And she's made amazing friends who can also do amazing things. And Link says, "Don't you shortchange yourself, Susan." And Susan goes, "Oh, I'm not going to shortchange myself. Ever. Again." You know, see, that's ironic, because, you know, she's not going to shortchange herself, because she is not short. She is, big. See what I did there? Oh well. But the epic moment is ruined when Susan is beamed up on Galaxar's ship. When Insecto tries to save her, he is blasted, and he falls to his death. Oh, don't cry for him yet. Susan wakes up on the ship in a new outfit, with Galaxar floating on a strange hovering device. But since this isn't the first time she's been in this situation, she's not the scared girl she was before. Now that is character development. Although Susan fights back, Galaxar still manages to get her into the extraction chamber and extract her Quantonium, shrinking her back to normal size. Galaxar then proceeds in his plan to rebuild his civilization on Earth because, well, you know, we never really hear why, because villainous monologue is interrupted by the cloning machine. Seriously hilarious moment, though I'm still kind of wondering, why? There is some theory, by the way, that Galaxar is like a distant cousin of Megamind because they're so similar in appearance. It's possible. Galaxar creates a clone army and broadcasts a message to the entire world that he's taking over. That I come in peace, I mean you no harm, and you all will die. Meanwhile, on Earth, Link, Dr. Cockroach, and Bob decide to go rescue Susan and take the alien down, because now it's personal. And they get there with the help of General Monger. So, they get on the ship, and Bob has a brilliant idea to dress like the clones in a Wizard of Oz fashion. Oh, I get it, because he doesn't have a brain like the Scarecrow. So, which one represents the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion? Somehow, the clones fall for this. Brilliant disguise. And not only hand Susan over, but they give the trio a security pass and a gun. Look, cartoon logic. Sometimes you gotta just go with it. Susan can't believe that they came to save her, considering she's not a monster anymore, just herself. And Dr. Cockroach says, "My dear, no matter what size you are, you'll always be nothing but a filthy carbon-based life form." Damn, I really want to know what he would have said if those clones hadn't interrupted. Like, you'll always be a tough, strong, independent woman. You'll always be our dearest friend. You'll always be the love of my life. Nope. Stop it, DF. Save the shipping preferences for afterwards. Dr. Cockroach comes up with a plan to blow up the ship. They fight their way to the main power core, and Dr. Cockroach reprograms it in a Dance Dance Revolution style. Yeah, apparently his PhD is in dance. Not sure how that works. But now the ship is set to self-destruct, and the team has to get off, like, now! Good news, though. Since the invasion is no longer possible, Galaxar diverts the Quantonium to his escape capsule. In attempting to escape, the boys end up trapped behind a metal door with Susan on the other side. They tell her to go save herself and leave them behind, that she can finally have her old life back. But she doesn't want her old life back. She just wants to save her friends and be a part of their team. So, because she's a badass, no matter what size she is, she makes it to the bridge and takes down Galaxar, demanding he opens the doors and lets her friends go. But he can't because the ship is in self-destruct mode. Now we're all going to die, and there's nothing you can do about it, Susan. And Susan says, "I wouldn't be so sure. And the name is Ginormica." Then she fires up at the ball of Quantonium with her standing under it. Yeah, embrace the power. You go, girl. A giant again. Ginormica is able to blast through the doors and save her friends. And just when they are about to fall off the ship, the general swoops in on Insectosaurus, who is now a butterfly. The ship blows up, monsters save the day, and this time are welcomed by the humans. And Derek comes in, right, saying he forgives Susan, and that he has a chance at New York if he gets an exclusive interview from her. And Susan, on live television, flicks him into the air. Suck it, Derek. And so, happy ending. But then the general comes with a new mission to stop a giant snail, Escargantua, from slowly destroying Paris. And Susan gets her dream to go to Paris after all. And so the monster team gets on Butterflyosaurus, and they fly off into the sunset like the heroes they are. God, I love this movie. Okay. Well, that is the plot summary. So, Bella, I will be turning your voice back on so you can lend your opinion on what this movie means, and does it deserve a sequel?
Oh, it absolutely deserves that sequel.
You betcha.
Oh my gosh. Especially at the ending. What? That's just an amazing kind of cliffhanger. It's just like, yeah, let's see this giant snail in Paris. How will that go? That could be a great way to start off the movie.
Yeah, you know what? It would be like how they started off in Incredibles 2, or rather ended Incredibles 1. Like, they leave us with the Underminer, and then Incredibles 2 just starts with the Underminer.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, at the beginning, I was very shocked. Even as a kid, I was like, how come nobody's heard that asteroid or felt it on the impact? That was a pretty big asteroid.
That is a
she wasn't too far. Yeah, she wasn't too far away from the church.
Yeah, well, because it kind of make this more cartoony than some of their other films, that they probably just go with suspension of disbelief. Of course, I find it even more unbelievable that the mom was able to clean up that wedding dress with wet wipes.
And Cosmic Trail is right. It's just like, how does she even survive that impact? I'm like, yeah, this is more cartoony than other DreamWorks
I do know, I hadn't seen Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, but I do know that Susan's backstory was based on that movie, where it was kind of similar, that of this woman who was about to get married and her fiance was a douche, and until boom, she's, and I don't know if she was exactly hit by a meteorite, but basically nobody believed her. Then and you know what? Considering it's like was it like 50s and 60s, that says volumes.
Wow.
Like, well, if you were hit by a meteor, how are you okay? Yeah, Cosmic Trail's wondering how did she live. I'm gonna say because it was probably the radioactivity that saved her, or it could have landed where like it had a lot of holes in there. Maybe she got in one of the holes, or then again, she's also hit by that giant ball. So all I can assume is that the radioactivity prevented her from being crushed.
Yeah. Also, when she got into the Area 50 something, I just felt so bad for her. Like, oh my god, her life fell apart like so quickly. It was like exactly 10 seconds flat. And she was just supposed to accept it. That's not okay. I would be upset.
Yeah, I will say, as much as I love this movie, a lot of the darker part of it is just glossed over.
It's really a lot darker.
Yeah, there's actually a fanfic out there called God Help the Outcasts, which is like a rewrite of the movie, but it kind of fills in all those holes, like what she'd been doing in those 3 weeks she was at the facility, bonding with her friends, and how they accommodate for a 50,000-pound woman who has basic needs. I mean, considering the toilet, the shower, and how the hey they got that prison jumpsuit on her, they managed to fashion it really fast to fit for her body. Who dressed her and how? Read that fanfic. It's on fanfiction.net called God Help the Outcasts. It kind of addresses that. Like, how do you get, I mean, it takes a while just to make a regular sized outfit, but how do you make one that's, she's like, what, 50 feet? Just exactly that fast.
That would take like a year, probably.
I know. And she just woken up too. Like, wow, you work fast.
Also, I think the president might be my favorite side character. Like, he's just so ridiculous.
When
he designed the nuke button? He designed the nuke button and the latte button to be the exact same. He almost pressed the wrong one. And he's just like, what idiot designed this place? You did, sir. Fair enough.
Wilson, fire someone. I do love that. I do love that president. Like, I am not about to go down in history as a president who was in office when the world came to an end. Right. Stephen Colbert, I think, does that really well. That was why. Oh yeah, he pressed the wrong button in the end too. In the end credits scene. Who wants to freeze my head? Yeah, that's why it was funny, like, back when a lot of people were declaring they were going to run for president, Stephen Colbert was among them, and we're like, oh, so Monsters vs. Aliens will come true then? I imagine, ideally, he wouldn't have been like that. I mean, obviously, they were playing that president off as just a guy who doesn't really know what he's doing.
It could be a Saturday Night Live skit.
Yeah, like I think it was a combination of Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan or something like that. And obviously they make him a lot dumber, and which is very interesting because this movie came out in 2009 when Obama was president. So yeah. I mean, it was like he'd just been elected, so they were probably just basing the character off of all those previous presidents that everyone likes to say is not knowing what he's doing.
No, yeah, and plus animated movies, they take like years of planning. So yeah, and they definitely designed the president character before Obama won.
Yeah, apparently they also designed him before Stephen Colbert was cast, and it's funny because he looks so much like Stephen Colbert. Like put
Exactly. That's
the images
interesting.
next to each other. It's like the really only difference is his face is longer.
They're just like, lol, this worked out perfectly.
Yeah, he just looks like a really huge political cartoon.
Exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, I do. Yeah, I do love this movie. It deserves a sequel, just like Megamind does. At least it did get a spin-off series on Nickelodeon for like one season, and it did get 2 Halloween specials, but not a full-fledged continuation.
I barely even watched the spin-off show, so I barely know anything.
Yeah, one thing about the series worth mentioning is that Susan does find a way to shrink and grow at will. Too bad she's overshadowed by other characters in the series, and our protagonist is put in the back seat. Somehow I think Nickelodeon had something to do with that, considering their history of corporate control.
Or did they think they couldn't? They didn't know what else to make Susan do.
Maybe, but I'm like, there's so much more you could do, even if you're gonna go for the growing and shrinking thing.
When the fanfic writers do more than the actual writers.
Yeah. Like I only remember a moment of Susan I actually did like when, the world was about to be destroyed by like this alien educational pad. Long story, and in order to stop it from exploding the world, they had to solve this really complex equation, and Dr. Cockroach and this really smart alien were trying to figure it out. And then Susan just goes, "The answer is 1 foot." 1 foot, and then she grows to her size and just crushes the pad with her giant foot.
Yes, queen.
Yeah, it's like, yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Like this is like one of her few epic moments in the show. Yeah. I mean, there were some fun moments about it, but at the same time, it didn't really do much to develop the characters that that I would have liked.
I might be going crazy. But wasn't there an episode where Bob was smart?
I think so. I haven't seen that show for when did it come out? Like 2010, 12? A long time.
I was just wondering. I'm positive that was an episode. Oh, there was also this little pink alien character. I think her name was.
Oh yeah, the little pink alien character who was.
Oh my god, I adored
like this child genius. He was cute. Yeah. Yes, and Cosmic Trail. There was a short where Bob could read people's minds. Yes, Bob's Big Break.
That's terrifying.
Which you could buy on DVD. I have the DVD of that. It was a prequel short with the boys when they were at the facility. I don't remember what year, but it was like decades before Susan showed up, and at least 25 years ago, because they also mentioned the Invisible Man who had died of a heart attack and was still in the chair.
Oh shoot! Yeah.
Yeah, Bob could read people's minds, and also the interesting thing about that, we do learn Dr. Cockroach had he had more to the mad scientist thing than he let on in the movie, that he'd actually planned on world domination at some point.
Oh, geez.
Yep. Yeah.
Imagine how that would turn out.
Yeah. But yeah, a reason we need a sequel, because there's so much, these characters have so much potential that needs to be expanded upon.
Exactly.
And, yeah. And I've been saying, if you ignore the comedy, there is a darker, true-to-life element to this movie, and that's related to how the incarcerated and rehabilitated are treated in this world. These monsters, not just Susan, aren't inherently bad. Like, Insectosaurus was a caterpillar who was suddenly turned giant, and being a bug and not knowing any better, she just wandered around aimlessly until she was captured. Like a lot of the kaiju monsters, just living her life. Oh yes, it's canon that Insecto was a girl all along.
Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah. And Link didn't ask to be frozen in ice for thousands of years, and his first instinct was to defend his old watering hole on Cocoa Beach, just like the creature from the Black Lagoon defended his home. Sure, he carried off 250 co-eds, but being a prehistoric fish man, he wasn't yet acquainted with society's rules. He was just running on instincts. Like the creature was. Anyhow, Bob was just a mindless tomato experiment that gained consciousness, and having no brain, he has no idea what he's doing most of the time. So again, I think his instinct was just like, okay, I'm going to absorb everything. I have no idea what that's going to do, but I got nothing better for me going on. And, of course, Susan became a giant and destroyed a church by accident. Yeah, the only one of the monsters who had any real ill intent was Dr. Cockroach, as it's revealed in Bob's Big Break. And he willingly tried to make himself more powerful for that purpose. And the experiment was to give himself the ability to survive like a cockroach. He didn't plan on the cockroach head, but, world domination was on his mind. But even so, all these monsters are here for one little mistake. For the most part, something that happened decades ago. Just like in most monster movies, these monsters were just trying to live their lives when humans decided they didn't belong to society. I mean, it's the whole premise of Godzilla that he was just slumbering underground, and then nuclear weapons woke him up and destroyed his home, and he's lost in this world and he doesn't know what else to do. Or even just King Kong. He's really just an ape who is looking for a girlfriend. Yeah, that's the thing about monster movies. Like, even when the monsters are on a rampage, you can't help but feel a little sympathetic to them.
Yeah, the monsters always have a reason.
Yeah, and often it's just their, raw instinct, or they're just they're just in this big world, and they're the only ones of their kind. They have no idea what else to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how this relates to real life. Obviously, we don't have like giant monsters running around or like that. But even when, even when these monsters are released and save the planet, they are still treated like monsters. Just like how ex-cons have a hard time re-entering society due to their criminal records, even for the smallest of offenses. And because they're rejected from employment and housing, and you can't get a job without a home, they end up committing the same crimes again to make ends meet. Look, crime is bad, but our society makes it impossible for anyone to better themselves because former criminals are just never given the chance. They will pay for like that one mistake their entire lives, even when they're out of prison.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's what I mean. This movie hits home a lot harder than you might think.
Imagine if there were no jokes in this movie. Like, it was just completely serious.
Again, read that fanfic. God help the outcast. Does keep some of the jokes, but it's that what that author did is like really delve deep into Susan's struggles. Adapting to being a giant and what that entails. She probably has a larger appetite.
Sheesh, I'm bummed that we didn't get it in the actual movie. Again, when the fanfic writers are better than the actual writers.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah, now let's look at the feminist side of this movie. Like, Susan starts out as your typical girl in love until she is forced into this big change. Literally. She tries to fight these changes even when she realizes their benefits. And it's not until the love of her life rejects her for being big and strong and actually capable of doing something on her own that she gets a much needed wake-up call that she's underestimated herself her whole life and was ready to mold herself around this one guy, never fighting for what she wanted. Like, even just the small things like, no, can't we honeymoon in Paris, and maybe you can do your audition afterwards? Like, it's good you got this promotion, but we already agreed to do this. Like that's the thing. Whenever my dad got a job in another country, he always ran it by my mom first. He didn't just like jump on board. That's what you do when you get married to someone. Your partners, like, not just one person is making all the decisions.
Yeah, that was definitely a red flag. Because it's just like, I don't know about you, but I would be pretty pissed off if we're about to get married and he'll just say, oh, by the way, we're not going there for our honeymoon. We're going to go here instead. I'm like, excuse you.
I know, which shows a lot about how Susan's character grows. She starts out being all compliant despite her own reservations, and then in the end, like, nope, I'm going to think for myself now.
Yeah.
Like on a number of levels. She's even able to face off to this alien guy who kidnaps her. It's like, Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going along with this. Like I'm fighting back.
Oh yeah, power to Susan.
Yep, Susan eventually discovers she doesn't need a man in her life to be happy. She needs 3. Okay,
Yeah.
that moral fell flat. What I
Oh,
mean
right.
is, she needs a real support system, friends and partners who treat her like an equal, and see her for the amazing things she can do. And, unlike Derek, are willing to sacrifice themselves for her. And Dr. Cockroach even tried to help her find a cure because it was what she wanted. But Susan finds her own strength to fight for the people she cares about.
Ship it.
Yeah, even when she is small and in the end chooses not just to be another small speck in the universe, but a woman who can make a big splash. And that was the wrong button.
Hell yeah.
Metaphors are awesome.
Hey.
But yeah, that's why I hope to see more of her character grow. Pardon the pun.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently a sequel was planned for Monsters vs. Aliens, but it was shelved after poor box office performance. Though fans have pushed for one over the last decade. And there has been talk, considering...
This movie had bad box office performance? Are you kidding me?
In comparison?
This movie was great! This movie was freaking amazing!
Apparently it didn't do as well overseas or something like that. I don't know. It even got like some Saturn awards and such. Because the voice acting's really brilliant in that.
All right, carry on.
Yeah, but there has been talk that it's possible, considering we've had sequels like For the Croods that were previously canceled, but then brought back since DreamWorks was bought by Comcast. Although there is also the Reese Witherspoon factor. It has been said she is willing to reprise her role as Susan Murphy as long as DreamWorks is not handling it. Because she had a bad experience working with DreamWorks. Doesn't specify what, but I'm sure it has something to do with Jeffrey Katzenberg. It's always Katzenberg. I mean, he was the reason Robin Williams didn't come back for the second Aladdin movie. So, yeah. And then he went to start DreamWorks, and apparently he's still a douche.
Still a douche.
Yeah. Though, if this ever happens, do you think they'll keep the size-changing thing for Susan from the TV series? Because I think it'd be a hard thing to explain for those who haven't seen the short-lived TV series. What do you think?
Maybe it would work out better if the sequel was like in between the first movie and the TV show, so that way she could eventually gain the ability to change her size whenever she wants, and that could be a plot point in the sequel.
Yeah, it could be. I also think it would kind of erase some of potential conflict of Ginormica becoming accustomed to her monstrous body, and then she just changed size at convenience. Like, okay, but I guess that erases some potential conflict there.
Oh wait, does she go back to her 50-foot self, or can she like change her height?
In the series, something happens where aliens try to steal her quantonium, and then when it comes back, she's able to change her height at will.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay then.
I don't know. Maybe they didn't. Maybe the animators didn't want to animate her at 50 feet all the time. Okay, so, all right, last point. Though this franchise has no canon couples aside from Bob and Diane the Jello, and even they end up breaking up in the series, that doesn't stop people from shipping anyway. And yes, so it may have already made clear what ship I'm kind of on here. But yeah, there's been like Susan and Link, Susan and Dr. Cockroach. There's been Dr. Cockroach and Link.
I can see that.
Yeah. I know in the show, Link had a crush on this alien warrior named Stabby. Yeah. I'm not one to criticize the shipping, because I was shipping Susan and Dr. Cockroach before I knew shipping was a thing.
Oh wow.
How about you, Bella? Any thoughts on the shipping?
I actually never really thought about it before. Because for the longest time, I didn't know how falling in love worked. So I was just
Fair enough.
So I was just like, yeah, they're all fine as buds. But as I got older, people were mentioning the shifts, and then you eventually mentioned it in your Megamind episode. I'm just like, Cockroach and Susan. I can totally see that.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if DreamWorks did that, because they kind of did that with the Madagascar franchise. Like, there were pretty much no ships in the first movie, and then in the second movie, suddenly there's Gloria and Melman, and somehow it worked.
And it worked so well. It's just that one line. Back at the zoo, it was never the doctors or prescriptions that kept me going. It was you. Seeing you every day. That's what kept me going. I'm just like, me and my mom were like, yes!
Yeah, that's. I mean, DreamWorks can do it too. They have it's like that example. They have a thing for beautiful, weird couples. Quoting from Madagascar there.
Hey, you said it yourself. They're the best at the Beauties and Bistro.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, Dr. Cockroach is the only other one of the bunch that was once human, and so it makes sense he'd be attracted to humans.
Yeah, with that logic, it also makes everyone feel less awkward about it too.
Yeah, there are also moments when he is simply in awe of Susan. Like, you wouldn't believe how many times I've paused the movie and I'm like looking at Dr. Cockroach and how his eyes are getting big. Bigger.
Yeah, what about that? You are the cat's me. Wow.
I know. I'm still wondering about that line. I'm like, where were you going with that?
Yo, DreamWorks, can this be canon?
Please, yes. And also the fact that he attempts to get her back to a normal life, and she's probably the only one who could probably get back to a normal life at this point. Yeah, there's so much just potential. Like, again, referring to that fanfic, God Help the Outcast, and its sequel, Love I Can Possess, that writer is really on board with the Dr. Cockroach and Susan ship, and they do it so well.
Oh my god, I gotta find this.
Yes, you got it. It's very long, but it's like, oh god, yes, somebody actually agrees with me. Somebody sees that this can work.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And it should be a thing. Now that Susan has learned to love herself, she can find a partner who will respect her for who she is, platonic or romantic. Mm-hmm. I don't think size is an issue here. I mean, look, well, it depends if they keep the whole growing and shrinking thing, but just look at King and Deanne from the Seven Deadly Sins. The fairy and giantess couple somehow make it work, and she's huge most of the time, and he's tiny, even for human size.
So what do we learn, kids? Size does not matter.
Okay. Oh my god.
Thank you. I'll be here all night.
Okay, well, either way, if DreamWorks ever gets their act together, there should be an official sequel so we can have more of these delightful characters.
Yeah, plus, it's not. Can you make good decisions, please?
Plus, it's not fair that horrible films like Boss Baby get Oscar nominations and sequels when good movies like this are overshadowed. Ironically, I did another pun, didn't I?
That's another thing I wanted to say. Like, I don't know if I'm just crazy. But it's like older DreamWorks films, like those character models, they just look good. But it's like, I don't know if it was the crews or Mr. Peabody and Sherman, but they just completely flipped the grid and were like, let's make these models as cartoony as possible.
Okay, well, Peabody and Sherman gets a pass because it was based on an old-timey cartoon, so the style was meant to be modeled after that.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with those movies, but I'm just like, what did you do in Boss Baby? I don't like these character designs. There's so much
Never mind the character designs. The entire movie's just like, what?
Yeah, you know what? The entire plot is stupid.
Oh my god, yeah, and I couldn't even like any of the characters. Yeah, like, why did that one get a sequel? Like, DreamWorks, we want this sequel, and Megamind too. And why didn't Megamind at least get a series? Because it's a superhero thing. That's a big potential for a series.
Yeah, is it too late for it to get a Netflix show at least? Please,
DreamWorks? Okay, yes. Okay, so, well, that's all I have. Any last-minute thoughts? Anybody in the chat here?
I guess one more thing to say. Like, despite the great story, this movie had a lot of good jokes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a UFO has landed in America. The only country UFOs ever seem to land in.
Yeah, especially if you've watched those old monster and alien sci-fi films where it just plays with all the tropes. Because that's the thing. In those movies, the aliens always land in the U.S.
Wait, what other countries with specific monster movies? There's like Japan
Japan,
and
definitely.
Brazil.
That's why
That
we have
one time.
Insectosaurus.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, oh yeah, Creature from Black Lagoon takes place in Brazil, not made by Brazilians,
Woohoo!
but takes place in Brazil.
Hey, as Brazilians, we get what we get.
Oh, I'd like to see sometime they go to Transylvania, because all the monsters there.
Oh yeah.
And again, maybe that would be modeling off of Hotel Transylvania a little too much.
Sony will come after them like, you stole our ideas.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and Cosmic Trail saying I never shipped anyone in the movie, and I still don't ship anyone. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Completely valid, Cosmic
Yeah.
Buddy.
These are just her ideas, and because I'm a romantic at heart, I need to ship somebody, even if there's no romance in the movie. Well, sort of, but you know that romance turned out to be. Okay, so if that is all,
Yep.
yeah. Thank you, Bella, for coming here today. Thank you for suggesting this. This has been a lot of fun. I love rewatching the movie, and yeah, and fun to delve into. Okay.
Oh yeah, this was great. It was great talking to you. Bye everybody.
Yep,
Have a good night. And wear a mask.
Okay. Yeah, wear a mask. Okay, so next month is Halloween. So we will be doing 2 Halloween-themed specials. Second place for the patron poll was a tie. So patrons, you will be seeing another polls soon, just to break that tie. The top pick, however, was Tim Burton's Corpse Bride. So that will be our next episode. Once again, featuring a female in the Beast role, but it does not end in the way you expect it to. All right. Until next time, pledge as a patron and buy my merchandise on Redbubble. I was able to afford new equipment, but still cut my budget pretty deep, so it's much appreciated. Okay? Love yourself, embrace change, and don't revolve your life over one person. That is unhealthy, especially if that person is somebody like Derek. Good night, everybody.